I'm a 56-year-old rural gun-owning white guy, and if Kamala Harris thinks I'll vote for her, she's right. From the time I was 12 until I went into the Army at 18, my dad and I would go up every fall and go deer and elk hunting on the Greenhorn Mountain. We went up there with 4 of his buddies that he grew up with and their kids. It was a pretty grand thing. We pitched a great big tent and a few campers. We hunted on the Greenhorn, Bear Park, Simonson's Meadows, some other meadows I can't remember the name of anymore, Deer Peak, St. Charles Peak, and all the lands in between them. There was so much land there, and it was federal national forest land. There's so much land that getting a license was never a problem. And I went away to the Army, and I came back and went up there to Greenhorn Mountain to check things out, get ready for hunting. Well, half the land that we were hunting on when I was a kid had a fence around it. It said private property, no trespassing. And if you looked around really hard, you could find the mansion that was put up on that land. See, the guy who now owns it, he made some kind of a deal with a congressman somewhere, and traded his land out on the prairie. It wasn't good for nothing. He traded that for the national forest land, and it was private property now. So what does that mean? Well, one, it meant that the small ranchers in the area who were using that land in the summer to graze their cattle, they could no longer graze their cattle. Some of them had to quit being ranchers. It meant that the animal scientists, the people who are managing the wildlife, well, they don't get to manage the wildlife on half that land anymore because it's private. And it meant that guys like us who weren't rich, we didn't get to hunt anymore because with all that land gone, well, getting a license became a really hard thing. You have to put in the draw, and if you don't get it, you get a point, and you have to stack up points. It takes about 10 points to get a license there now. So 10 years you have to apply and be denied. And if you're rich, if you can afford it, you can buy points. So wealthy people, they still get to go up there and hunt one of the most beautiful places to hunt that there is. Not us regular guys. I bring it up because last night in the debate, J.D. Vance said something about using federal lands for solving the housing crisis. Kamala Harris has a real plan. I don't necessarily agree with all of it, but it's a plan that can be debated in the Congress. It can be changed and modified, and at the end of the day, there can be an actual plan to address the cost of housing in America. But what they're talking about just using federal land and opening it up for development. Well, I think what they mean is open it up for gas and oil wells and rich people who can put a mansion up there that they'll come visit once or twice a year. What they ought to do is they ought to go out here to the Eastern Plains where the towns are drying up and have vacant houses and vacant buildings that could be turned into apartment buildings. They could turn those places into thriving communities again. Right now, they're taking the water off the plains and moving it to the city where all the people are. Why don't they move the people to where the water is so that the farmers can keep farming? Anyway, that's what I was thinking about last night when J.D. Vance was talking about the Trump solution for the housing crisis. I got more to say about the debate, but that'll do for now. Good day.